afternoon, and welcome back to Tea Time with Afternoon Social. I'm Teresa Lauterbach, your host, and today is Friends Day Fridays and some more storytelling with Rose. Here I go trying to pronounce her last name and I mess up the first one. Rose Caiazzo, and she's a consultant, founder of Social Media Secrets Club, and a voiceover artist, a syndicated radio host. And she gave us some great tips as a mountain bike guide from yesterday. So you'll have to go back and check out these other videos we've done this week. And she's an outdoor enthusiast. She's moved from New York to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And now I found out too, she lives in a tiny home and she does her voiceover career and syndicated radio show host from her tiny home in a closet, walk-in closet. So I'm going to turn this over to Rose and tell us more about your exciting business from home and how you got that started and how it works for you and what other little tidbits you might have for us. So thank you for joining us again, Rose.
Yes, thanks for having me join again. I'm so excited to tell you about voiceover and how I got into it, because I'll just tell you right now, it's not just about your voice, right? Because all of our voices are very distinct and different. There's lots of things that come with it. But let me start with a story, and that is when I was about 7 years old. And I used to live in New York. That's where I grew up until about 33 when I moved out west, Jackson Hole. I've been living there about 14 years. And I was 7 years old, and my parents liked to take me to Disney World because I liked it. I was a kid, right? Mm-hmm. But I was different than most kids because I remember being with my mother on the monorail system, right? And you'd hear this woman say, "Please stand clear of the closing doors." And I'd be like, "Mom, where's that woman? Where is she at? I want to talk to her." She's like, "Woman, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "That woman that told us about the doors. Like, where is she?" And she's like, "It's just a voice. It's not, there's no one here." And I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, and then I'd go into the haunted house with my father because my mom was too scared to go. And I'd go in with my dad and you'd hear this, you know, sound that's like, "Step back and make sure you pull the bar down." And I was like, "Dad, where's that guy? Who is that? You know, like, I want to meet him." He's like, "What guy? Sit down." My mother was from Queens and my father was from Brooklyn. So I had to deal with these very severe, to my ear, accents that when I was 7 years old, I actually listened to the radio and I taught myself how to not speak like a New Yorker.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Although if there's another New Yorker in the room, I'm going to start talking like a New Yorker, right? Because I grew up in New York till I was 33 years old. Right. But anyway, you know, most people cannot place where I'm from because I have distinctly removed my accent since I was 7. So I've been obsessed with voices ever since. I think really what started it was, you know, back in the day when I was in the corporate world, you'd have people be like, "Your voice is so great. Can you do our voicemail?" Sure, you know, I wouldn't even get any extra money for it. Like, I would just do it for them. And I loved doing it though, and then I loved the prestige of like my voice is on the voicemail. And to be honest, I know this sounds really weird, but if I got hired to be the voicemail lady all day, I'd be so happy because I know it's a little strange, but it's true. And when I moved to Jackson Hole, and I was working in this one little place, I was working for Paws of Jackson Hole, so with animals. I had a part-time job because I thought, wouldn't it be cool to start a business in the downturn in 2007? But wait, I think I want to start 2 of them. And so I did. And this man worked next door. And I remember going in to visit him and just chatting with him. And he told me he was a SAG-AFTRA actor. Okay, so that means he's in a union and he's an actor from California. So we started chatting a little bit and I was like, "Oh gosh, I've always wanted to do voiceover. Like, I think it's so awesome." And he's like, He's like, yes, I've done a lot of voiceover stuff, and maybe you should come to my house because I have my studio set up there, and we'll record a couple things and see how it goes. So that's what I did. I went to his place. I recorded a couple things. He acted as my director, right? Like he said, let's give it a little more oomph on this word, and then let it trail off here, you know. And I was like, okay. So there was one. He had put all the scripts together for me. And he's like, read this one in your English accent. I'm like, really? I'm like, gosh. I'm like, Bob, my English accent is so rusty. He's like, I don't care. I want to hear it. You do it. So I recorded the script, and it was for an actual job. And so I recorded it, and he goes, what do you think? And I said, I think it sucks, Bob. I hate it. And he goes, I love it. I'm sending it in. So he sent it in through his own man profile, and they were looking for a woman, right? So he sent my voice through his male profile. The next day, he gets an email, and it says, we had about 150 auditions, and out of all of them, we picked you. And Bob, that wasn't a sign that you should be a voiceover talent. I don't know what is. And I was like, so I, went to the great state of Wyoming, and I said, I need a mic. I need to learn how to use a Mac because apparently it's better than a PC, because for the voice files and stuff. And this is what I need. And they helped me do this loan process where I could buy all the materials. And then I would put it in a closet, and that's where I would do my voiceover stuff. I do live in a tiny home right now. And I do credit Bob for being my voiceover angel because he taught me so much. One year I won an award in Wyoming for the best commercial in Wyoming.
That's cool.
And I produced, Bob helped me produce it. But he helped me produce it, and then I voiced it. And he also voiced some of it. So I wrote the script, we did it together, and then he did the production. So he was better at that than I was. So he is just like my beautiful angel that came through that taught me the business so that I can do it on my own now. He is now doing a lot of audiobooks. His name is Bob Stevenson, and he's a very talented man. So now I live in a tiny home, and I have one closet in my house. That's right, just one. And I have dedicated space that's right at my eye level, where I place the computer and the microphone and everything, and I basically talk into what we call dead space, right? Because it needs to be, so the clothing all around me in the back, right, deadens the space, and then the special pads that I have here, where the mic is sitting here, deadens that sound so that it comes out better. And so that's how I do my radio show now too. So I do professional voice work. So someone might call me and say, we've got a video, we need you to say these words that match this, or we have a producer that we just need to say these words and we'll match it to the video. Or we have this, I did a GPS app for Grand Teton National Park when they first were doing it. So I was the voice of Grand Teton National Park as well. And I had 2 different radio shows. I helped start the community radio station in Jacksonville, Wyoming back in 2008. And I said to all the people that were sitting around the table, I was part of the beginnings of this. I helped start it. And everyone was going around the table saying what show they wanted to do. And I was like, no one wants the lady angle? And they're all like, no. And I was like, I'll take it. So I had a show called Local Lady Talk, and I think more men listened to it than women, which I thought was I did some racier shows like The Science of Kissing. What does it mean to actually kiss, right? Happens when you're kidding. I would do party planning shows. I would interview authors of different books, right? Making beauty products for your face, facials and things. So I would just do all different types of shows. I interviewed the second woman judge in America, kind of thing, this, so I would do that kind of stuff. And I learned quite a bit in those 5 years of that radio show. And then I was on a station that was a paid station and I had a show called Drive Time with Rose. So from 4 to 6 p.m., people could call in and request. And like my doctors would call in and be like, Rose, it's so great to hear you on the radio. Like, can I request this song? And I'm like, yes, of course. You know, so that was really fun, kind of doing the real time stuff. And then the syndication kind of happened by accident. So someone sent me an email for someone that was looking for a syndicate that wanted to have a radio host that they would syndicate, but it had to be the right person, right? And wanted it to be called Yellowstone Country. So I thought, well, that's a cool name, right? Because Yellowstone, I lived right by Yellowstone. But I didn't really listen to country music. Not that I'm against it, but I was like, do I want to be a radio, show host for a country show? And I let the email sit in my in bin for at least 5 days. And then I think one night I had a glass of wine and I was like, you know what? I'm going to send my stuff anyway. They're probably gonna want me and I'll just send them my stuff and my demos. If you search my name or Jackson Hole Rose on YouTube, you'll find all my stuff. So basically, I send them all my stuff, because I had this glass of wine. I'm all like, I got to get this out of my inbox. I'll just send them an email, thinking nothing's going to happen. But the next day, I get this email that's all in capital letters. We want you. I was so stunned. I literally could not even discuss it with anyone for a month. Yes. I was so stunned by what had happened. I couldn't talk about it. I was like, how do I do this? I don't, all of a sudden I'm a syndicated radio host. But really, I've been doing it for a full year now. It's called Yellowstone Country with Jackson Hole Rose. And my persona online to find me anywhere is Jackson Hole Rose. So if you type in Jackson Hole Rose, even in the Google engine, it's like I own it. Because I've been Jackson cool. Hole Rose since 2008, Yeah. So, yes, it's really interesting to be able to, be the syndicated radio host, but also have this gift of being able to gab about country music. Like I had to learn a whole new genre of music and now I love it. I'm going to Nashville in February of next year and I'm really excited because my persona then becomes alive. I become Jackson Hole Rose. I wear my cowboy boots, my cowboy hat, and I walk around and I'm a little spicy, because I'm a single gal living in the West. And let's remind ourselves what country music talks about. They talk about being in love, right?
Right.
They talk about losing love. They talk about drinking a lot.
Yeah. And your pickup truck.
And the pickup truck, right. And that they want to burn because, they're woman, they see their woman everywhere. So they want to burn the truck or sell the truck or whatever they want to do with this truck. Right. Or loving the truck, something.
Oh, and got to have your dog riding shotgun.
So I have a lot of stories to share, and that is where my authentic storytelling self comes out, right? Like I'm going to have a special Halloween, basically one that comes out on Halloween it's playing actually in several different states in the US, but it also plays in Australia and it plays in Canada, in the biggest market of Toronto. So I have all these different people listening to me, playing music that's country, talking about the artists, talking about the, stories behind the music, giving my little antidotes in there, like, hey, ladies, gotta listen to this song because look at what he says here, this kind of thing. And it's just really fun to do. And people can listen to it on Sunday nights, Mountain Time, in my hometown. At 10 p.m., which I know is a little late for East Coasters. So I have another station that I plan to share so that you can listen like 2 different times. But it really is fun to do, and it's a lot of work. I have a secret. I use that word a lot, don't I? My silent producer. So I don't say who they are, and they do all the production, and then everything is released. So the show is amazing. I feel so blessed to be able to have a syndicated radio show, and use my voice in the world with being a voiceover talent as well. We have lots of different names, as I said. So voiceover artist, however you want to say it. You know, there's a company I work with in New York City that I do a lot of their training videos. So they just really love my voice. And the department hires me. And they're such a big company that I have to sign an NDA agreement. So I can't even tell you who they are.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I can't even tout that I do voiceover for blank.
Right.
Because if I said the name, you'd be like, oh my gosh, really? But they don't want me to say that. So I can't tell you who they are. But I can tell you they're a really big company. And I'm flattered that they like my voice, you know, and that each department that gets one of these, you know, kind of video, it's kind of like a sales training, you know, where you go through sales training, a video, that each section, like when they show theirs to the other department, they're like, who's that woman? Like, we want to get her to do ours too. Yeah. So, you know, it also depends on your level of expertise. I mean, it is about your voice, but you have to do everything yourself. You have to do your own billing. You have to do, you know, invoicing. You have to do selling yourself, marketing yourself, doing voiceover work and making sure that that's posted somewhere that people can find it. You have to tell the stories behind this, you know, the scenes. You can talk about, you know, you can teach people things like plosives, which is if you get too close to the microphone, you hear too much puff. And that's why we use those, you know, microphone covers, which are basically like a piece of, what would we call it? Like pantyhose.
Oh, okay. Nylon. Okay.
It doesn't pick up the plosives, right? Or, you know, I know all about how to use the voice because I had a 4-year music scholarship in college for voice. So I sang, and when you're a singer, you learn a lot about the vocal cords, the diaphragm, how you need, like I would never ever do a voiceover sitting down because my diaphragm is very flattened out right now. And when you sit up, it becomes very open, and then you can breathe better, and you can also not hear those breaths, because if you can hear those breaths, they're going to have to be edited out with production. And I can do production, but I don't prefer it.
Right. Less is more when it comes to working with technology. Yes.
Some people love production, like the person I work with that helps me with my show. Basically, that's, you know, that's his jam. He loves it. So I'm like, here, take my voice tracks, mix it with this song, then mix this song, then put a liner in there, you know. A liner is just something that says, you're listening to Jackson Hole Rose on Yellowstone Country. You know, there's kind of music in the background. So that's a liner. And then I have to put commercials in because the show is syndicated and I'm paid based upon the commercials. So, yeah, so that's kind of all that stuff in a nutshell.
Oh, that's so fun. I know you brought to mind one thing. I do have a secret little character I do too, but I haven't brought her out yet. But maybe she's coming out in 2022. I do miss my email and all her wonderful advice. I'll tell you what.
Oh, the Southern accent. That's right. My Southern accent is more Georgia, I know, because all the Southern accents are very different.
Oh, definitely.
Russian, like the Georgian Southern, and I can do English pretty well. Like I met an Englishman one night, and I just started talking like that with him, and he was like, "Okay, like I can't even tell now." Then you know the Australian accent is very different, and I can't quite pick that up. The Irish accent, I can't quite get it. So there's just certain ones that I focus on that I'm good at. And New York, of course, New York, you know.
Right.
People really do talk like this in New York.
Well, I grew up in Southeast Kansas, so I kind of picked up Oklahoma and Arkansas.
Okay.
Because that was the TV stations we'd get.
That's right.
So that's where I get some of that weird stuff. So, well, I think we're a bit out of time, and it's been a wonderful week listening with Rose and all of the stories she's had to tell us. Go back and watch all those videos. And as always, I'll have all of her contact information on the post with these videos. And tomorrow she'll join us for one last time at Super Shopper Saturdays, and she's got some things to offer to you tomorrow. So tune in, and we will get those offers from her. And thank you again, Rose, for visiting with us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
JacksonHoleRose.com for that one.
JacksonHoleRose.com. All righty. That's easy to remember. Thank you again, and we'll see you tomorrow.
You bet. Thank you.
I'm captivated.